Hi, everybody. Just thought you might want to see my face this morning. Anyway, maybe not. That's okay. So today, I'm going to walk you through Act 2, Scene 3. It is such a fun scene, and I love teaching this one in class because it's just so power-packed with emotion and hilarity and disbelief and everything. So I thought it would be better for me to have my face so you could kind of see some of the expressions that I'm going to give to you. So where we've ended up, Romeo and Juliet just spent all night basically together on her balcony, professing their love for one another. And as it ended up, as you know from the other day, Romeo and Juliet have decided to get married. They have honestly known each other for like 6 hours, maybe. Um, the party ended the night before. We're not even 24 hours into this entire play yet, if you can believe that. And so all of a sudden, Juliet, who yesterday is saying, "It is an honor I dream not of. I don't want to get married." She certainly doesn't want to marry Paris, is suddenly now all in with Romeo. And so her plan is to send the nurse, and her plan is to get married to Romeo. I'm going to pause for just a moment. Okay, so anyway, so here comes dawn. The morning comes, and Romeo is going to go visit his mentor, his friend. His name is Friar Lawrence. We haven't met him yet. And Friar Lawrence is an interesting guy, but he's going to play a big part in the play coming up. So he goes to Friar Lawrence's, they call it his cell. Friar Lawrence is like a monk or a priest. He lives at a monastery. And you can tell that Romeo and he are very closely connected. Anyway, one of the things that you need to know about Friar Lawrence is that he is an expert herbalist, meaning that he uses plants and things from nature to create medicines and poisons, I guess, if need be. He's not a doctor, but he just is very skilled in medicines that come from the earth, I guess, and almost like tinctures or like you would do like essential oils and things like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the very first part of this scene is Friar Lawrence would be alone on the stage, and he is talking to the audience really about how powerful the plants and herbs and other things from the earth are really are. Anyway, so I actually want to point out some of these lines because I love how Shakespeare uses a couple of poetic elements in here, and he uses just a really strong series of literary terms, things like that. We start out with "The gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night." That grayness in the morning, as light is turning, as night is turning into day. Gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night. Here's an example of personification. The gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light. Think about how like a kind of wispy, cloudy day as the sun's coming up, and you can see kind of this checkerboard in the sky. So the second line is actually a metaphor. And then we have a series of rhyming couplets. 2 lines consecutively that rhyme are called couplets. And so we have "The gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and flecked darkness like a drunkard reels from forth day's path and Titan's fiery wheels." Now we have a simile. He compares the flecks in the sky to like a drunk person. Trying to walk a straight line doesn't happen. The sky is undulating. It's kind of moving like that, like a drunkard, I guess. From Fourth Day's Path and Titan's Fiery Wheels. This is a literary allusion to the mythological Titans, the god whose chariots pull the sun into the sky each morning. Now ere the sun advance his burning eye, the day to cheer and night's dank dew to dry. So we're looking at the morning. I must upfill this osier cage of ours. I want you to notice that Shakespeare oftentimes does what we call a reversal. Remember, he's trying in some respects to make his language fit into that iambic pentameter. This monologue is in iambic pentameter, and it's a series of rhyming couplets. It's not a straight sonnet like we've been looking at the beginning of Act 1 and Act 2. But sometimes he's got to reverse words a little bit in order to make them fit into the rhythm. So instead of saying I must fill up this, an osier cage is like a basket, okay? It says over here an osier cage, a willow basket. So picture him on stage picking, looking at the morning, things like that. And he's standing there with a basket in his hand, and he's picking plants and things like that to use in his tinctures that he's making. Anyway, so I must upfill this osier cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. So I have to fill up this basket with plants, with weeds, and precious flowers. Okay? The earth that's nature's mother is her tomb. What is her burying grave? That is her womb. He is looking at the earth, and he's comparing, he's saying the earth is also, the earth is a tomb, so a place that you bury things, but it's also a womb. Think about that. When plants and things die, they nourish the ground, and then they cause rebirth. And so the earth is not only a tomb for things to die, but also a womb for things to be rebirthed. And so it's just this whole big series of him saying, I'm picking plants, and the earth is a pretty important kind of piece of it. From her womb, children of divers kind, we sucking on her natural bosom find. I want to actually move down. Many for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, these are the important lines here. O mickle, great. Mickle is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For naught so vile that on earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. Basically, great is the power that lies in plants and herbs and stones and their true qualities. Okay? That it does us good. He keeps going, and he says, nor aught so good, but strained from that fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. Here's an important line. Virtue itself turns to vice, being misapplied. Virtue, meaning goodness. Goodness turns to vice. A vice is like a bad habit or bad, being misapplied. Think about that in terms of things that you love. Too much of a good thing is bad. I love Netflix. Too much Netflix is a bad thing. You get the little are you still watching sign. I love chocolate. Chocolate is a bad thing if I eat too much of it. And if that's all I eat, that's bad. So good is bad, being misapplied. Anyway, he says within the infant rind of this small flower, picture this on stage. He picks up a flower, he shows the audience. He says, within the infant rind of this small flower, poison hath residence, and medicine power. This being smelt, with part cheers each part, it smells really good. Being tasted, slays all senses with the heart. So he picks up a flower, he shows it to the audience, he says, within this flower, poison has residence. It smells really good, but if I eat it, okay? And all this monologue is serving to show is that Friar Lawrence is skilled in plants and herbs and all of that. So all of this is going on, and then Romeo comes in. And I am going to start a new video because I want to talk about Romeo a little bit and Friar Lawrence. So I'm going to stop that here.